Good evening, everyone. I'm Lissy Bastian. It's great having you back with us. Supreme Court Justice Carolita Bethel ruling today that former Cabinet Minister Shane Gibson has a case to answer as it relates to bribery charges levied against him in 2017. On Thursday and Friday of last week, legal submissions were made without the jury present. The defense's no-case submission is on the purview that due to the lead investigator, Assistant Superintendent Deborah Thompson, editing contractor Jonathan Ash's statement, the fairness of the trial was affected and could not continue. However, Justice Bethel, in giving her summary of the ruling, stated otherwise. Following her summary in court today, Justice Bethel reread the 15 bribery charges to Gibson and asked if he wanted to speak on the stand or remain silent. The former Minister of Labor and National Insurance chose to remain silent. After calling a character reference, the defense closed its case. Trial will continue tomorrow at 10 a.m. when both the Crown and defense will address the jury, who would then consider the matter. It is alleged that between January and March 2017, the former minister, who had responsibility for cleanup efforts post-Hurricane Matthew, allegedly solicited and accepted in total $280,000 in bribes from contractor Jonathan Ash in order to approve outstanding payments owed to him, claims Gibson denies. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Min is throwing his support behind expunging the record of Bahamians convicted of possession of small amounts of marijuana, as he says they deserve to move on with their lives free and clear of a criminal conviction. In a statement yesterday, Dr. Min said the government will reform the country's marijuana laws and potentially expunge the criminal records of those convicted of possession of small amounts of the drug, as he eagerly awaits the release of the report by the Bahamas National Commission on Marijuana. He says the government will use the report's findings to help reform the marijuana laws, adding that being from the over-the-hill community, he has seen firsthand how current laws especially harm young people from modest backgrounds. A rehabilitation of offenders committee has been formed, he says, and is reviewing a number of matters for recommendation, including the possible expunging of some criminal records for possession. While the opposition's weighing in on the matter, Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell says while the PLP supports the move, he hopes the Prime Minister's statement isn't a distraction from the fiscal state of the country.
It's very odd. When I saw the statement come out yesterday, I thought, well, why now? Of course, there's never a bad time to do something which is good, but, this is a very calculating individual, and you can bet that there is something behind it. Which is not obvious on the surface. So, particularly since their position had always been that they were going to await the report of the Commission on Marijuana, and that report has not yet come to the public, into the public domain. So I just wonder why he felt the need to jump the gun on the issue.
The Prime Minister also threw his support behind making marijuana legal for medicinal and scientific purposes. Health Minister Dr. Dwayne Sands expects the Marijuana Commission's report to be completed soon. Well, St. Barnabas Member of Parliament Shenandoah Cartwright also weighing in on the Prime Minister's recent announcement. Mr. Cartwright opined that the move is progressive, courageous, and in his view, the right thing to do. Mr. Cartwright added that for decades, many young Bahamian men, including those living in his constituency, have had their lives and livelihoods put on hold as a result of criminal records. And while he agrees that the Bahamas is a country of laws which every citizen must abide by, the criminal justice system must be equitable and just to allow real rehabilitation and reintegration into civil society. Meantime, Bahamians for a long time have been voicing their support for changes of the marijuana laws of the Bahamas, and in light of the government's progressive stance, our news team took to the streets of the capital today to get a response from Bahamians on the PM's announcement. Randy Roll, a known activist, says he agrees with Dr. Minnis and the Bahamas should follow the United States in legalizing it. He believes legalizing marijuana will reduce violence and may prevent crime that may stem from the use of the drug.
I see no reason why we have all these young talented children in prison for smoking a joint or being in possession of a small quantity of marijuana. That's a Jim Crow approach like Dred Scott whites of the United States. The local indigenous people have no right to smoke an indigenous plant or otherwise a plant come from nature. and be charged with it and destroy their lives for it, the devil is a liar. I agree.
These young men also believe the government is moving in the right direction, as those caught with a small amount of marijuana should have their records expunged and be given a second chance at life. However, they also believe decriminalization should come with regulations.
A lot of youngsters that have actually spoiled their reputations. Everybody is entitled to make a mistake. As far as I'm concerned, if you're under the age and you're really young, I didn't think you deserve a second chance.
This is a long time coming, fair. I've seen so much of my friends, colleagues have their life ruined because of small amounts of marijuana. I think we should treat it similar like we do alcohol, whereas there should be some level of regulation, some level of fines. The person's exceeded, you have to make sure there's some type of age limit if we're talking about, I guess, recreational use.
However, not everyone agrees with this move. This young man, who wanted to remain anonymous, said he opposes the decriminalization of marijuana.
Smoking any joint, any form of intoxication that has to do with the body is wrong. Because the Bible strictly lets you know the body is the temple of the Lord. So which means that anything that you put within the body that defiles the body is wrong. It defiles the body.
Prime Minister Minnis is the first sitting prime minister to publicly support some form of marijuana decriminalization. He said he hopes the decriminalization process will happen before the end of this term. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.